We just went over the budget and budget process reflection. And now we're going to move into audit. Audit and the audit process. With this audit, we are talking about an external audit. So typically with your external audit, you're bringing in outside auditors to come in and audit your books versus internal audit, where internally you have a department within the nation that does compliance checks and things like that. We are actually referring to the external audit where you're bringing the auditors in here. So if we go to the next slide, we'll talk about the importance of understanding audits. External audits provide independent assurance over financial reporting and internal controls, which is essential for effective decision-making and compliance. Because you want to make sure, excuse me, that the financial reports that you're actually looking at are accurate. And external audits provide that independent assurance that it is correct. So we move on to the next slide. A financial statement audit versus a single audit. So both of these audits are typically performed externally, but they each have a very different focus. So your financial statement audit, on the next slide, provides an independent opinion on whether or not a tribe's financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And your single audit provides assurance to the federal government that recipients are using those funds in compliance with applicable laws, regulations, and policies. So your single audit is your, typically what you're referring to is the CFA, and that's the Schedule of Expenditures of Federal Awards. And that's the difference then between the financial statement audit and the single audit. But they are both typically done. If we move to the next slide, we'll start with the question again. Do we have audited reports that provide a clear picture of financial performance? So when I think about the audited reports, I go back to what I call the 3 R's. On this next slide here, the 3 R's are required, recent, and resolved. So are audited reports required? Because if they're not required, that's a pretty big expense that you wouldn't need to take on. Loan agreements may require an audit be done. And if you receive enough federal funding, it can be required as well for your single audit. If you have a tribally owned casino, it is required on the casino, not necessarily on the government, but definitely on the casino, it is required then. So I think about required, I think about recent. How recent is the last audit? Are you current or are you behind? If you are behind, it happens. Tribal finance can struggle, excuse me. Tribal finance can struggle trying to maintain and keep up with current operations as well as working on prior years. So it does happen. Ideally, you want to be recent and have your most recent fiscal year completely audited. Resolved is referring to audit findings. So are there audit findings to resolve from the financial statement audit, or are there corrective action plans to follow up from the single audit? So this can be important if you do have any kind of audit findings, even more so now than it had been in the past, just with, I think we have it on the next slide. We go to the next slide. So the importance of resolving audit findings. Repeat findings are now noticed more than ever by lending institutions and government agencies. So you want to find out what is the current status of findings if any. If they have been resolved, you want to find out from your CFO, okay, are you confident that all these findings have been resolved? Because sometimes managers or directors may think that they have resolved a finding, but it may or may not actually kind of reach the standards that the external auditors would like to see. So that just kind of getting your CFO involved in that to make sure that they're confident then gives you a little bit more assurance. Does your CFO need support to resolve any audit findings? Many times with audit findings, it can be a responsibility of tribal finance to resolve. But when you're talking about the single audit and grants, it may be a finding that is on the operations to resolve. And so that can be a little bit more difficult for the CFO to try to get complete. So just asking as tribal counsel, does your CFO need support? Let's see. So an audit exit meeting. Um, you can request an exit meeting with the auditors after the audit is complete. Auditors will present the audit report to council and let council know if there were any complications with management or staff. The exit meeting can be done virtually by phone or in person. Just kind of keep in mind that if it is in person, you're probably paying for travel expenses and the auditor's time as well. And here is another tribal finance tip. What is the best approach to discuss audits, findings, and corrective action plans with your tribal finance team? Have a common open discussion about the current situation. Ask questions to understand and clarify. If there are unresolved findings, discuss the plan to resolve them. And try to focus on understanding and resolving and not blaming. Ask how to best support them in getting the findings resolved. So here's a quick audit and audit process reflection. Do you know the current status of audit findings, if any? And have you attended an audit exit meeting led by the external auditors? Was it helpful to understanding the audited reports? Or if you haven't yet, is there anything specific that you would want to know?